FA Cup fourth round picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and available in 40 states. Head to kutt.com. That's kutt.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. And we're brought to you by the SGPN merch store. 50% off everything when you use the promo code PLAYOFFS. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Wednesday, the 24th of January, and we are here to scour over the bones of all the different competitions that we picked rubbish in this week and have a look at the FA Cup fourth round action. This weekend, I think we're going Friday night through to Monday night, possibly something like that. Joining me first tonight, we've got a few different voices coming on the show tonight. But first is the most familiar, is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Hello, Bazza. How are you?
Even Malcolm, yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Apart from suffering a little bit from some very, very poor picks this midweek.
Okay.
Absolutely healing. I thought it was off to a good start tonight. You'd taken Leeds to score both halves. I'd taken Liverpool handicap, both up 1-0 at half time, and you're thinking,
yeah,
we're on target here, and then all went a little bit downhill from there. And it wasn't any better yesterday either. So hoping to come into this weekend freshened up, rejuvenated, and pick some more winners. Although last FA Cup weekend wasn't brilliant for me, very average. But then the FA Cup replays was brilliant. So it depends which slant you take on it. I'm buoyed by the FA Cup replays where we went 4 from 4. Or am I going to struggle? Let's find out.
Yeah, I'd say it's been a topsy-turvy week of results, but I made these notes earlier on today, and then both of our picks tonight went awry as well. And even though I think they were probably both correct, certainly the Leeds one. Don't know how Leeds didn't score in both halves, so it's probably been more turvy than topsy now at this point. But yeah, I'll run through because there's all sorts of. We were in 4 different continents at various points trying to find some winners. Slick Rick first in the chat tonight. Rick, how are you? Mafia James is it, lads? How you doing? Up the Oldham, Luke. Good win yesterday. I can't remember the beat to them. I saw them were 1-0 up.
They won 2-0, didn't they? I can't remember who it was now.
Yeah.
They did win 2-0 though.
I nearly last night, Barry, but the cold got the better of me. Went to Blythe Spartans against Scarborough Athletic because my mate from Scarborough, and a lot of he lives around the corner from me, but a lot of his Scarborough mates are coming up for the game. So Scarborough won. I tipped him up a losing bet, you'd be pleased to hear. So not only did he have to go and stand in the cold at Blythe, but he had to lose money for the privilege of doing it. And Duke is up there as well. Yeah, I mean, this goes all the way back to Monday night, Baz. We picked from last week. Brighton 0, Wolves 0. There was a lot of fannying about in this game. Fucking hell. I was watching 4 games at once, so I kept flicking on this. Every time I put Brighton Wolves on, João Pedro was doing drag backs on the penalty spot. That's all that happened. Like, that was it. The entire game was just João Pedro just spinning around on the penalty spot. Have a shot, son. And what did make me like James Milner looks a bit like, you know, when the dad goes on the stag do. Like, that's what James Milner looks like in that team, because they're all fannying about. And then they give it to him. And he's like, oh. It's like he's doing his one dad dance that you decide to do when you're 40. So, yeah, dad on a stag do for James Milner. So that was dog shit. Monday. Briefly need to get across to Asia on Monday. China failed to score. So it ended the tournament. They did have one disallowed. I got quite excited, but it was VAR'd off. So China went home without scoring. And then India rolled up the next day, Barry. And did you see their results?
They didn't score, did they?
No, they never scored again. So that's the end of them. Both of them out without scoring. What I think they need to do is, Baz, 1.4 million on each side, first goal the winner. That's what I reckon. We need to set that up. We'll get China versus India going, everybody in. But the fun thing on Monday night was the AFCON. It was absolutely insane. So we had a good sweat. We put out Cape Verde at 6-1 to roll over Egypt. I know Callum was on it. We talked about it on the show. We said that was too big. Cape Verde led at half time. But then Egypt got back. Egypt got in front. So they were going through. But then in the other game, Mozambique, who we took the Mozambique team total, we did a little ladder. Mozambique scored 91st minute, 94th minute to cash that bet at 4-1. So that's the bet that got me out the shit this week. That's the one that actually leaves me in a little bit of profit this week, which left Egypt, or they thought they were out. And then Cape Verde scored a mad equaliser. So that was just absolutely insane. Tiger, one of mate of mine, one of our listeners, sent me his little bet slip. He done the team total, Cape Verde team total, and the Mozambique team total at 30-something to 1. Just a little pizza bet. So he won a little bit of beer money. But that was just insane. Cape Verde are brilliant. Like their entire team, it looks like they've got a team of either Alan St. Maximin or Alexander Isaacs. They're just, the whole lot of them, step overs or sort of rangy, skillful players. The sole intention is to do something Raj with the ball whenever they get it. That's all they want to do. And then,
I mean, of all of the stuff I've watched in the African Nations Cup, Cape Verde have been the team that have caught my eye. I've been entertained by them. They look fun to watch, and honestly, they can push a few teams like 22-1 to win the tournament. Still big underdogs, but might get a run for your money out of them.
Well, I'm going to come to them in a minute, Baz. Tuesday night, Cameroon did the same thing. They were done. There was like 3 injury time goals in that game against Gambia, where Cameroon scored. Gambia thought they'd scored. Did you see the Gambian bloke handball it in and then run off like he'd scored the winning goal in the World Cup final? There were 3-2 down. It was not goal, 91, 92, 95. 96, corner comes in and he just punches it in. But then he runs off like it's going to count. So that everyone's gone mad. The bench have gone mad. They're piling out the stand. But he must know it's going to get disallowed. So I just didn't understand. It was a proper hand of God, Diego Maradona, which was fine trying it on. But to celebrate the way he did, like, it was absolutely nuts. So Cameroon hung on, I think. But then Algeria got knocked out. Algeria went out. And they were going to be my pick until I got onto the trend about North African countries. So Algeria went out after a first ever win by Mauritania. The Mauritanian national anthem couldn't sound more like a James Bond villain is about walking down the corridor behind it. It's the most sinister sounding anthem you've ever heard. And then Tunisia, North African teams past Tunisia got toasted as well. So it's been really good fun. The round of 16 is just about set, but I did see some of the early games were set, Barry. And Cape Verde jumped off the page straight away to me. I bet it doesn't sound like you've seen these odds yet. So Nigeria might pick. They play Cameroon, but it's a bit of a hapless Cameroon side. That's on Saturday. My 100-1 shot, Guinea, went through, and they're even money favourites to beat Equatorial Guinea in the Guinea Derby in the next round. But Cape Verde are even money, Baz.
That's
to knock
ridiculous,
out Mauritania on
I think Cape Verde are an
Monday afternoon.
Gift.
So I know there's a show coming up between now and then, but that Cape Verde beat Mauritania. And Cape Verde rested a lot of players yesterday as well, because they were already assured of top spot in the group. So there you go.
Cape Verde goals, Malcolm, stands out to me straight away. I mean, as you say, we'll probably cover it, but it'll be Sunday night. But Cape Verde, 6-4 to score 2 goals in that game against Mauritania.
18 hell.
6-4 and 5-1 to score 3. So they've scored 2 or more in all 3 of their group games. And that's against Egypt and Ghana and Mozambique, who are arguably better than Mauritania. 2 goals or more, 6-4 stands out like a sore thumb. I'll be getting on that earlier. There's going to be line movement in that game, surely. All the money's going to come in for Cape Verde. It's got to.
We might have a discussion about this, Barry, when we get off the show in an hour, because we've lovingly built up a little pot over the last few days, so it might be time to fire a bullet on that one. Worst pick of the week goes to the Chelsea v Middlesbrough game, Barry. We both thought Middlesbrough would keep this close. 6-1. Yeah, that was the end of that. Well done, everybody. Fulham v Liverpool. Not really. Brett's going to come on. He can tell us how he feels about Fulham in a little while. But yeah, both teams scoring over 2.5, which was not far away. I mean, Fulham made a better game of it than it looked like early on when they went 3-1 down on aggregate. And I did hit my Cheltenham handicap, Barry. They covered the line against Bolton, which was fine. So, yeah, not ideal. I mean, anything else from those midweek games for you, Baz?
No, very much forgettable from me. Happy to move on and pick some winners instead.
I have got one bit of lifestyle. Did you see my tweet this afternoon about my new accessories, Barry?
Yeah, I was expecting
what do you think of that? So I've got...
I was expecting to be wearing them.
Yeah, I've got them here. My eyeballs have felt a bit strained recently. Now, that worried me because, as discussed previously, from my nose down, I'm fucked. Everything's knackered. Nothing works. But my eyes and my hair are in great condition. That's all I've got left, right? And my eyeballs have started going. I was like, oh, do I need glasses or whatever? So I got some of those blue, what they call blue light glasses. I actually used some of that money that we won, Baz. I invested it. And they came today and they come in a nice box. And they come in they've got a nice thing. But I put them on, and because I had my woolly hat on, I just couldn't have looked more. Proper Ali G with it. And I don't know, they've got a little touch of paedophile about them as well. Without the hat. With the hat, they're just Ali G. Without the hat, they're a little bit kiddie fiddler. So, yeah, I'm not really too sure about them. What I was thinking about actually getting, Baz, was some light therapy glasses. Do you know anything about these?
No.
Because I've been moaning it's been cold and dark for months, which it has. You can get these things. They make you look a bit like the fella out of Daft Punk. So you wear them, and it sort of forces false sunlight into your eyeballs. And they're quite trendy. Apparently, young people know all about them. I was speaking to Kramer before, and they're all the rage in California here, Barry. But who I heard talking about them on Talk Sport was Gary O'Neill, the Wolves manager. Now, I've said before, he was a bit David Brent when he was on Monday Night Football. He was a little bit cringy, and he's a big fan of the old light therapy, but they were about 150 quid, Baz. So maybe Cape Verde can do us a favour and buy us a pair of light therapy glasses next week. That is my news. Right, we're going to make some picks. We've got some, like I say, Brett's coming on in a bit. We've also got the Black Country Derby, West Bromwich Albion against Wolves to discuss. Obviously, when Newcastle played Sunderland a couple of weeks ago, we got Callum on to give a Sunderland point of view. So we've got a West Brom angle pre-recorded, which we're going to play out in a little minute. Let's first talk about Underdog Fantasy. Great way of playing alongside your favourite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball and football. Simply pick higher or lower your favourite players' fantasy stats and cash in. You can win 100x with some spicy plays. Watch along, make your picks. Maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code SGPN. Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. I think by the end of the week for Underdog Fantasy, we've gained access, me and Barry, and we're going to have our own show promotional code. So you can help us out if you're on the other side of the Atlantic by signing up to Underdog Fantasy with our promo code, but we'll get to that another time. Right, what do you want to do, Baz? Do you want to kick off with West Brom Wolves and we can let Cookie tell us about that, or do you want to make a couple of picks first?
Let's make a couple of picks. So we try and keep it chronologically, roughly. Let's start with the Friday picks at the beginning. So
have you got a Friday pick then?
I think I've got two Friday picks. So
there is a Thursday game, which I'm guessing we both ignored. I don't know why this is on Thursday night. Bournemouth against Swansea. But yeah, I've got a Friday pick. Go on then. Let's run through our two Friday picks, Baz.
I've actually got Thursday included in my ACCA, but I've had to put my ACCA into two parts. One for the people who have listened before Thursday and one for the people who are listening after Thursday.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll get to the ACCA later on. I've got a 5-day ACCA because these FA Cup games go from Thursday to Monday. Covering 5 days, so a little bit of excitement. You've got to hang around if you want the 5-day ACCA.
All going on Cape Verde team total on Monday.
Oh, God, imagine.
You know, Baz, we're going to be rich. We're going to be fucking rich.
I'll kick off then with Bristol City versus Forest, which is a Friday night game, 19:45 in the UK, which is whatever time, 5 hours earlier, which is 2:45 in the US.
Yes, well done. Very good.
East Coast. Bristol 5-2 plus 250. Forest are 21-20 plus 105. And the draw is 5-2 plus 250. Bristol City currently sits slap bang in the middle of the Championship, 13th place. They've scored 31 times. They've conceded 31 times. They're not winning many games. In fact, the only game they've won recently is that replay against West Ham in the previous round. And it was that performance against West Ham that brought me to this fixture, because it wasn't a fluke. They did match them and give them a really good game in both games. So it took a 1-1 draw, first time of asking, and then in the replay, stole it 1-0. They created 26 chances over the two games and 10 shots on target. Forest, on the other hand, made really hard work of Blackpool, who were a League One side, so a division below Bristol City. They needed 2 games plus extra time to get past Blackpool. And they conceded 4 goals to Blackpool, 2 goals in each leg. And that's the concern for Forest here in this game. Defensively, what can they do? Because they haven't kept a clean sheet for over 2 months. So although things have improved for Forest under Nuno, defensively they're still conceding every game. So I'm not sitting here fading. I'm not ready to take Bristol City. They're not big enough for me at 5-2, given their all-around form. The FA Cup was a great result, but in the league they're not in great form. But I think they can score goals here. And I think both teams to score looks good. It's 10-11, so it's only a shade under even money for both teams to score. And I just think it's a good pick with Forest not having kept a clean sheet for so long. I think Forest will probably win this game, but Bristol City will get on the score sheet. And I like Bristol City v Forest, both teams to score at 10-11, minus 110.
That is a rock solid start, Barry. I'll carry on Friday night, which is possibly the tie of the round, in that it's 2 big Premier League teams, although obviously in the FA Cup you're looking for something a little bit different. But the 8 o'clock on Friday night, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, sees Tottenham Hotspur take on Manchester City. Tottenham are 4-1. The draw is Burlington Bertie, 100-30 plus 333. And Manchester City are 3-5, minus 166. Just instinctively, immediately, I wanted Tottenham. Just at the prices, I thought 4-1 was far too big. And a lot of this, Baz, comes from the comparison of watching Man City at Newcastle only however many days ago it was. Newcastle were in the lead at the break in that game. And Spurs, I think, are been quite impressive recently. And I think they're in a better place generally than Newcastle. So if Newcastle ran City very close that day, it was a late equaliser, it was a late goal. So, gun on my head, if you were giving me 20 quid to put on a money line, I'd take Spurs at 4-1. But this is also, Baz, the kind of game where there's going to be a load of fun stuff happening, and I can't see why it wouldn't do. So, the 2 things I picked out here, the half-time, full-time, Tottenham half-time, Manchester City full-time, 18-1. And then the other way around, the turnaround time is 33-1. And then to win from behind, I've given this out a couple of times as well. Tottenham to win from behind is 14-1, and Manchester City to win from behind is 11-2. Both of those, if you'd taken either way around, would have cashed that Newcastle game. That was Newcastle half-time, Man City full-time, and Manchester City won from behind. I can't remember if we mentioned, Baz, but James Mafia, who's in here, backed, as well as having the best day of his life at primarily my expense, he backed Newcastle half-time, Manchester City full-time, you know. He'd come in the pub afterwards where we're all sitting suicidal, waving his fucking screenshot of that around in my face as well. Absolutely shameless. So, yeah, I think that might be... look, he's in the chat now, having a little flex from 4,000 miles away. It's easy now, James, isn't it? So, yeah, I think there's going to be some mad stuff. We'll go turnarounds, we'll go win from behind. But I do think Spurs are very, very live at a price of 4-1 in that one. Baz?
Yeah, so I've got one final one on the Friday night, which is the Sheffield versus Coventry game. And the reason I've gone for this one is is that we've got a very direct comparison game, which happened just 4 days ago. They played each other in the league on Saturday. Sheffield at home to Coventry at Hillsborough. They lost 2-1. And it's a game that I put out on our live stream on Saturday morning where I cover a lot of the AFL stuff. I said I fancied Coventry. I thought they were a good price. I said I fancied Coventry team total, 2 or more, and both of them hit. So I've done all right in that game, and I feel happy enough to go back to it. Coventry took a 2-0 lead in the game before Sheffield pulled one back in the second half. That win for Coventry stretched their unbeaten run to 10 games. They've won 7 of those 10. And more notably, they've scored at least 2 goals in their last 7 games, Coventry. 7 games in a row they've scored twice, and they've done it at the weekend against Sheffield Wednesday. So I'll just take them to do the same again. 11-10, it's still plus money. Coventry team total versus Sheffield Wednesday. Coventry to score 2 or more at 11-10, plus 110. I love that pick.
I looked at that game and immediately was like, yeah, I love that because we've just seen it. We called it right that day. And yeah, we've just seen it. And I looked at it. I didn't make any picks on it, but my eye was pretty much immediately drawn to it when we looked at that as well. Okay, we'll move along once we've talked about Cut, peer-to-peer social betting platform. Look, tons of fun. Kramer's been dominating on Cut over the NFL playoffs. Available in 40 states. Peer-to-peer social betting is a new and better way to bet. Betting directly against your friends or others on sports, politics, pop culture. Whatever you want, Cut offers low, vague and fully customizable odds. You can create your own bets. The social features, group chats, cashback, all sorts of good stuff. Cut is the peer-to-peer social betting platform, US-based and legal in 40 states. Head to KUTT.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. And Hall of Fame bets helping everybody win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season. Hall of Fame bets analytics platform for parlays, player props, game lines. You can research NFL, NBA, and soccer with historical stats and data. What you need to do is put all your bets into the parlay optimizer, and Hall of Fame bets gives you all the info you need. Players hit rates, expected probabilities, who's hot, who is not, all that sort of stuff. So stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use the code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. And don't forget to get in the merch store. There's 15% off everything in the store from now until the end of January with the promo code PLAYOFFS. So, yeah, get your favourite item. I've got my eye on the mini helmet, Baz. I want the SGP mini helmet, I think, from the old merch store. So 50% off everything with the promo code PLAYOFFS. Okay, so that is Friday night covered. Saturday, I've got a few bits and bobs, but we're going to move to the 7 o'clock game on Saturday night. I have no idea why this is on telly. It's not even really on telly. It's on ITV4. It's not very appealing. I will watch it, but I'll be watching it through my hands. The game we're talking about is Fulham taking on Newcastle United, and fresh off a Carabao Cup semi-final exit. Maybe not totally unexpected, but probably a bit disappointing anyway, is Mr. Brett Pund. Brett, hey, how you doing? Are you okay, son?
Yeah, I'll make it. I've seen worse. So yeah, we pushed it to the end, but
I think that's all you can ask for, isn't it? Especially having gone a goal down. I mean, Bernd Leno's just forgot to sew his hands on. That was so soft. And it could have easily got away. We saw a game the night before. They got out of hand quickly. Fulham didn't let that happen, did they? And, I mean, they were one kick of the ball away from tying it up after they got the equaliser, Brett.
Yeah, I haven't. I had to decompress a little bit and stay away from Twitter, so I haven't seen the full reviews coming in yet. But I have heard from others that have told me they thought, Fulham maybe left it too late. But my counter was that I think Liverpool was actually wanting them to go all out, and if Fulham would have opened up, maybe Fulham would have scored 2. But I can tell you that Liverpool for sure would have probably scored more themselves. So I think the goal was just hanging around as long as they could, and ultimately that's pretty much what happened. Pereira hits the post, and a nick here and there, and we could have maybe gone through. But yeah, good run. But yeah, just a little short.
Yeah, so that set up a Chelsea-Liverpool final. Just a bit boring, really. I'm kind
But
of
they're
split
always
between
0-0, aren't they? Haven't they had
They're
about
always
4 or 5 0-0s in a row, Chelsea, Liverpool?
penalties. It was the first comment tonight in the YouTube chat was Slick Rick was getting 0-0 bets in for the League Cup final. I'm torn between being a little bit devastated that we really should have beaten Chelsea, but I just think how I would feel now, Baz, if we had that final to come with Liverpool, because you know how much I hated that 5-week gap between the semi-final and the final last year when it was Man United. Honestly, I don't think I'd rather not be in it, which is absolute loser talk. But I'm quite happy just to carry on with my miserable existence rather than have that hanging around my neck like an albatross. So, Brett, the cup action doesn't stop, and Fulham will welcome Newcastle to Craven Cottage on Saturday night. Obviously, we played Fulham fairly recently. It's the only game, apart from the Sunderland Cup game, it's the only game Newcastle have won in recent memory. But it was a bit of a non-event after Raul Jimenez went a bit nuts and got himself sent off early on. So, I mean, can you see a cup hangover, or how are you feeling about this game Saturday?
Yeah, you guys have invited me on twice, and I'm going to look bad going against Fulham both times. But the spot here just, I mean, it's everything Newcastle, right? I mean, Fulham just had the League Cup, the second leg at home. It was the first time really ever that I can remember that happening. And then, we're pushing to go to a final since 1975 was the last time. And if you were watching there at the end, I'm sure you guys were on here already, but I mean, Paulinho was completely shot. Willian was barely moving towards the end. I mean, there's going to be a couple guys that put everything into that. And yeah, I will say, I don't know if I doubt Silva will rotate. So you'll probably still get those guys here because he does prioritize the cup, as you've seen with that run there. But I mean, there's going to be some heavy legs going into that game. And I mean, with Newcastle, like the league form away from home is pretty documented. It's not been great. But when they've gone on the road in these cup games, they seem to show up. I mean, they just battered Sunderland. I know that's a league below, but that was a big derby game and really just completely destroyed them. And then you were just talking about Chelsea. They were winning all the way until the last kick of the ball, it seemed like, and still had to lose in PKs, and that was on the road. So if I'm making a pick here, my article comes out probably here in a bit, but one of my favorite picks of the weekend is just getting Newcastle. I'm going to take the minus 0.25 because I do want the draw on the side. I don't really see a whole lot of goals either way. But I do think Newcastle's just the right side just because of the spot right after today.
Okay. This game, Fulham are 2-1 home underdogs. The draw is 13-5 plus 260. Newcastle are 5-4 favourites plus 125. This is a battle. I quite like it when you come on, Brett, because I think your attitude's similar to mine. Because I'm taking the other side. I'm taking Fulham. I just think the prices are wrong. Basically, yeah, through a form line, Fulham's home form, 1-6, lost 4 in the league. They've beaten Arsenal at home, they've beaten West Ham at home. And Newcastle's away form is 1-1 drawn 2, lost 7. Now, if you showed me those two sets of numbers and asked me to tell you which team was the 2-1 underdog, it's the second one. It's the team that have won one. It's really, really straightforward. So you make a good point that Fulham would be tired physically and potentially emotionally after tonight. But Newcastle is struggling. We've got no Joe Linton. We're still down to the absolute bare bones. There's rumour and counter-rumour about some of our best players leaving. I just think at the price, Fulham 2-1 to beat a team who have lost 7 out of 10 away games, I just think it's absolutely wild. And obviously you factor in my complete and utter permanent negativity. So yeah, it's Fulham for me, Barry.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't initially take a pick in this, but looking at the odds, personally, I wouldn't want Fulham at 2-1. I don't think it's a big enough price for me. Other than the Arsenal game, I just haven't been impressed by Fulham in recent times. They've lost 4 of the last 6. The Arsenal game, as I said last week, was a really standout performance. Even the cup win against Rotherham wasn't outstanding. They only beat them 1-0. Early goal, and then that game fizzled out a bit, really. So 2-1 wouldn't be big enough for me to think Fulham, but equally, I don't fancy Newcastle at 5-4. It's just a dodge for me. I'm leaving this game well alone. As I say, I'll watch it on Saturday night, but it didn't make my list of games that I would necessarily go out and make a pick on, to be honest.
That's fair enough. Brett, before we let you go, could you redirect us again to your article that's going to come out on the sportsgamblingpodcast.com website? What can we expect?
Yeah, so that comes out probably here soon in the next hour or so. I will give my favorite plays for the FA Cup weekend. And then not too long later this weekend, we'll have the EPL comes back midweek. So we'll have another preview up for that, I think, on Sunday. But yeah, that's up on SGPN's website. And then you want to give me a follow on Twitter. The handle is there at BChinoP. But yeah, happy to jump on. And I will say, since I last came on, I feel more official now because I
wow,
look at there supporting the show a little bit.
Brett's rocking his merch, getting the merch store 15% off, etc. He's a company man. Right, thank you, Brett. We appreciate that. We let you go and carry on mourning for a little while. We'll speak to you next time. Cheers, man.
Yep, have a good one.
Cheers, Brett.
Brett Bund, everybody, from the like I say, sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Go and find Brett's article on there. Baz, do you want to? Where you going? We went chronologically. I've got a couple of Saturday afternoon quick ones, or where do you want to go?
Yeah, I've got a Saturday afternoon, so I'll jump in next. I'll take Leeds versus Plymouth as my next pick.
Well, I've got one in this, Baz.
Oh, well, you'll be able to tell us the odds for this one then.
Yeah, I will. The match odds are Leeds are round about 3-10, minus 333. Plus 475. What's that? 17-4 on the draw. Plymouth are the 6-1 rags.
Yeah, so I wrote these notes before tonight's game, or during tonight's game, and now I'm feeling like I
don't think it matters, Barry. I think we'll be on this similar page, and my notes didn't change. Leeds were fine tonight.
Yeah, I was between two picks anyway, and I like them both, but I'll stick with where I'm at. An all championship tie, and one that just screams goals from the start. But the bookies know that 4-9, minus 225 for over 2.5 goals in this one. But the Plymouth games are just loaded with goals every week. 7 of the last 8 have gone over 2.5. 6 of those 8 went over 3.5. And both teams to score has hit in all 8 games recently for Plymouth. So I started off thinking maybe the over 3.5 goals here. 11-10 plus 110 isn't a bad price. Minus over 2.5 is just too short, but I don't mind pushing it a bit further with Plymouth being in such good form for those over 3.5s recently, 6 of the last 8. But I just think if we get 4 goals, I fancy Leeds to do most of that because Plymouth away from home are poor. They've just 6 points out of their 33 points this season in the league. Only 6 of them have come away from home. They've not won on the road all season. And on the flip side, Leeds haven't lost at home all season. They've won 10 of their last 11 at home as well. They're in really, really good form. I think Leeds will win here. They're a short price at 4-11, but I think Leeds can score 3 in the process. Leeds team total, Leeds over 2.5 goals against Plymouth at even money is the pick for me. But I don't mind the over 3.5 if you fancy Plymouth to get 1 as well. Leeds could even get 4 themselves. They've done it a few times recently. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
One of those situations, Barry, where we've handicapped the game exactly the same, and then attacked it from a couple of different angles, which is part of the skill or the look that you're trying to uncover here. I've made exactly the same notes, Barry. Goals everywhere. Plymouth beat TTS 7 in a row, 6 of them over 2.5, 5 over 3.5. What I've got here, Barry, is a little ladder that involves a little sort of a two-way build a bet. So I've got both teams to score is a little cornerstone, and then added over 2.5. So both teams to score with over 2.5 is evens. Both teams to score with over 3.5 is 13-8 plus 162. And both teams to score with over 4.5 is 16-5 plus 320. Because I'm looking at a 3-1, a 4-2 or something like that. So yeah, both teams to score nailed in, and then tag the goals on top of that. So like I say, Same cat skinned in a couple of different ways, but
yeah, I like that. Not bad. I mean, we always love a ladder opportunity anyway. So, yeah, happy with that.
we love that. What time's this one I've going on? I've got a quick one here. It's a horrible looking game. Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock game. Will not be high on anyone's list of watching. Everton taking on Luton Town. Everton 2-1 on -200. The draw is 16-5 plus 320, and Luton are out at 6-1. My handicap here is that Everton shouldn't be 1-2 to beat anyone. They're not in great form. They've only won 3 of 11 at home all season. I think did Luton turn them over earlier in the season as well at Goodison Park? And Luton are doing okay, and we've regularly said they never get beat by more than one goal. They might make changes. That's the only thing I don't really know about here. I don't know what team Luton will put out. They haven't got a particularly good squad, but Luton plus a goal is even money. So we'll get a push if they lose by 1. I just thought that Luton could easily take this to a replay, get a result. So Luton with a little goal head start, we'll take a push because they're not going to lose by 2. They never do. So we'll take Luton even money plus 1 goal. Where next, Barry? Do you want to go anywhere?
I've got one more game. It's on a Sunday, so I don't know if you want to go cover the West Brom Wolverhampton. So we'll keep it chronological because that's an 11:45 kickoff on a Sunday. So let's jump to West Brom West Ham, West Brom Wolverhampton, Malcolm.
Okay, we'll do that then. So Black Country derby here between West Bromwich Albion and Wolverhampton Wanderers. I used to live in the vicinity where all these West Country and Black Country fans live. So I've got a lot of friends down there. I called in West Brom super fan. My mate Joe Cook had a chat to him on Monday night. Cookie gave us the lowdown on this West Brom versus Wolves game. Joining us to talk a little bit of Black Country derby, West Bromwich Albion against Wolves, is, I reckon this person is in my top 17 all-time people. Absolute legend of a man. From Worcester is Mr. Joe Cook, also a superstar DJ. Cookie, how you doing, son?
Pavel, good evening. Delighted to make it into your top 17, pal. I've been striving. Maybe this time next year I'll make top 15.
I'll be honest, you're probably on your way down. You were probably top 10 five years ago, Joe. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. You put your West Brom tracksuit top on, especially, have you?
I got it out the wash, especially for tonight, for all of our friends, mate. So I could prove that I am true West Bromwich Albion.
Excellent. All the Wolves boys, refuse to come on. So luckily, you've now got carte blanche to completely slag them off, and they have no right of reply as well. So that's good. Now, we had this a few weeks ago because we had the Newcastle Sunderland game. So it was a bit closer to home for me and Baz. From the minute the draw was made, we had the entire build-up, the nervousness, the silliness. Callum, we did get a Mackham on the show, and he was just totally and utterly negative, convinced they were going to get hammered. Since the draw's been made, I think you had to wait a little bit because Wolves had to play the replay, didn't they? So you haven't had a huge build-up, but how was the build-up been, and how you generally feeling?
I would probably be a little bit like the Sunderland fan. I'm a little bit nervous, mate. I am massively excited. It's a local derby. Black Country, maybe not. Everybody knows that Wolverhampton's actually in Staffordshire rather than in the Black Country, Pav. Really, if it was Albion Walsall, I'd be uncontrollable right now. But it's as close as we'll get. I know we're not Stafford Rangers for the Wolves fans out there, but we are their biggest rivals. It has been a while since we played them due to Albion's decision not to play in the top flight of English football anymore. But yeah, there's a fair bit of excitement around the region, pal.
And generally, what's the relationship like between Wolves and West Brom? I mean, it's safe to say Wolves are the bigger club, Joe. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that is that. Thank you for that, Pavel. Yes, I was unprepared. Listen, we have to hold our hands up. We can't all be as big as the mighty Wolverhampton Wanderers. Yeah, we're a little bit in awe of them about how great they are. Absolutely. But Pav, let me tell you an interesting story. I'll do it very quickly. Back in the 1980s, where most of your fans I'd have thought won't be around, obviously they're a very youthful bunch. But back in the 90s, it was actually Albion that kept Wolves afloat, mate, as we were collecting money outside our home games as they were going through some financial turbulence. So I like to remind all of our Wolves friends that is the case, because if we weren't around, they definitely wouldn't be as well. So I think we helped them build that ground for them, Pav.
Is it true? Was there actually collecting going on?
That is absolutely true, mate. Absolutely true. We kept them going, and they repay us by throwing bricks back at us every time we go to their ground, mate. So it's the kind of love-hate relationship that we've got, albeit, to be fair, whenever we've got a great record against them in recent years anyway. So, you know, they've only won 1 out of the last 10 against Albion. So they haven't got the best record. Let's hope it continues this weekend.
I asked you just before we started recording, you said you haven't got a ticket for the match. The ticket in the West Brom gave Wolves a few too many tickets. I think Sunderland did that to Newcastle as well a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the pains of the FA Cup, where you have to give them a certain allocation. So for hardworking gentlemen like me who can't make every game, can't be a season ticket pal, yeah, unfortunately, I'll have to be watching it on the telly with the rest of my Albion contingent who can't get a ticket. I'm sure the atmosphere will be red hot though, pal.
Oh, I don't mind West Brom, Cookie, and I don't know. I think it's a product of. I don't know. I've told you this. In lockdown, when I had nothing else to do, like no one else did, I made a list of all 92 clubs in the order in which they got on my tits, right? And unbelievably, Cookie, West Brom were 92nd. West Brom had decided had got on my tits less than any other football team in my 46 years on this planet. And I've got a feeling that's because especially when I lived near you, or when I lived in the West Midlands, Newcastle and West Brom were quite similar, quite comparable in that there was a little bit of relegation and promotion, yo-yoing going on. And the fans just seemed to have a similar attitude in that we're probably going to do something ridiculous, shite, and get beat, but we're going to have a good laugh doing it. And obviously there was you and Ricky Newman and Des Tibby and all the other West Brom fans. So yeah, I haven't got. I like West Brom. Well, I don't like them. We don't like anyone, Man and Baz. We say this out, but I dislike them less than I like everybody else. So I quite like the Baggies this season. I was just having a look at the league, Cookie, and like they're sort of stuck in a bit of a no man's land, aren't they? Because I don't think they're sitting in 5th, but the top few have got away, and you look like you should be all right for the playoffs. So it looks like it's going to be all in on the playoffs, isn't it?
What is typical of any Albion fan you'll speak to, mate, is that we will absolutely snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. So I would suggest that we're probably aiming for somewhere about 11th right now, mate. Sitting in 5th today, aiming for 11th will probably be the season that we're looking for. We don't want to be too excited and get relegated, but the playoffs, we don't want that either, mate. We just want to be nice and cozy and mid-table. And we're going to do that by selling our best players at the end of the January transfer window as well.
It's fair enough. Getting onto this game then, what we want, Cookie, from you is some insight, some betting picks. I was having a look around. Even like comparison games, really, it's hard to read into because this is Championship v Premiership. So recently we saw Newcastle go to Sunderland and completely hump them, totally drama-free. But then we've seen Bristol City turned West Ham over last week. Middlesbrough turned Chelsea over in the League Cup. So while Sunderland fans were complaining that we're never going to be able to compete, that's a load of bollocks because we've seen it time and time and time again. This game in 90 minutes, West Brom are 11-4 home underdogs plus 275. The draw is 13-5 plus 260. And Wolves are a shade of odds on 9-10 minus 111. So generally, Joe, what's the pattern of the game? What's West Brom? Are they possession based? Are they going to come out the traps and go for it? Will they set up with a low block? How's it going to pan out?
I think that unfortunately, pal, both teams are. They're probably. It's going to be open. I think there'll be goals. I don't think either team are defensively great. So I think, if I was looking at how the game's gonna pan out, I think definitely if I was a both teams to score is a shoo-in. So if you're looking at a bet builder, I would be throwing that in. I think both teams will definitely concede. Neither team will want a replay, mate. Neither team have got the squad to get another game. They won't want that. So I think both teams are going to end up going for it, and it's a derby, so it's going to be spicy as well. It's a sellout crowd. I think that there will definitely be goals in this game, pal. But if you are asking me today, I think my bet of the weekend is going to be West Brom halftime, draw full time. That's where I would be looking, pal. That's your value.
Oh, wow. See if I can price that out. I'm just having a look. Both teams to score is 4-5 minus 125. And over 2.5 goals is 9-10. I just stuck them in a little bet build. So that's 5-4. So you can get both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 5-4. I haven't got the half-time, full-time market priced up yet. Can't find that yet. And what about if you've got to give us a fancy price, Cookie? There's got to be a big centre-back who can come and smash a header in from a corner at 33-1, or a cheeky little full-back who gets on free kicks, something like that.
I've got one for you, Pavel. Kyle Bartley, first goal scorer, mate. Centre-half. Quite possibly the greatest defender currently living in West Bromwich. So, therefore, he's my outside first goal scorer tip. I think set plays are going to be important. Bartley, he's got a good record from centre-half. He's already scored this season. I would be having him as a first goal scorer outside bet, pal.
Yeah, big centre-back, isn't he? Did he play for Rangers or something like that, maybe? I imagine that.
Rangers and Leeds, pal. Rangers and Leeds.
Yeah, so the player markets aren't up yet, but generally big centre-back, 25-1, 33-1, something like that. Right, brilliant, Joe. Thanks, mate. That's made my mind up for all of that. Anything else you want to tell us about the game or anything else before we let you go, son?
Mate, as long as people get home safely, enjoy the day. The Wolves fans get home safely to their wife and their girlfriend, which is usually the same person, pal. So all the best to them. Good luck. Great to catch you. And I'll see you again soon, pal.
I'll speak to you for the next round, Cookie. That's what we'll do. Good luck. Up the baggies. See you later soon. Bye.
Take care, pal.
There we go. So that was Joe Cook. A couple of things I want to point out about that. Kyle Bartley, I've priced it up. Is he 25-1? I've lost it now. Anytime, 25-1 to score first, 11-1 anytime goal scorer. And I don't know if you noticed, Baz, but at the end of that, Joe had made his little notes all day, and he was dead excited to come on, and he did a very good job. But he'd obviously built himself up to telling that joke at the end, Baz, about Wolves fans getting home to their wives and girlfriends who were the same person, when he obviously meant wives and sisters. So he completely fucked the punchline up of his joke that he'd spent all day preparing. We stopped recording, and I went, Joe, you know you fucked that joke up, don't you? And he was absolutely devastated. He hadn't even realised that he'd messed his own joke up. So I've punched the numbers a little bit on this one. And my pick for this is going to be West Brom to score first. I like that bet, 8-5. Cookie had West Brom leading at half time, so I'm going to back him up here. West Brom to score first, 8-5. Baz, you got anything on this?
No, but it does make it into my ACCA later in the game, so we'll come to it then. I've got no thoughts. I knew you two were covering it, so I stayed clear of that one.
That's fair enough. You've got one pick left, Barry. What have you got?
I've got one as well. I'm going to jump in next with Watford v Southampton.
Ooh.
Watford 13-5 plus 260. Southampton are evens plus 100, and the draw 13-5 plus 260. Again, Watford games are just an automatic plug and play for goals here, very much like Plymouth earlier on. Last 12 games for Watford have seen both teams to score 12 in a row. 9 of the 12 went over 2.5 goals. And Southampton themselves don't look too bad for goals. 6 of the last 8 have gone over 2.5, and 5 of those 6 went over 3.5. So plenty of goals for Southampton. Watford are just goals all of the time at both ends. Southampton have seen 4 goals in each of their last 3 games now as well. They've had a couple of 4-0s and a 3-1. Southampton are in great form at the moment, unbeaten in 21 games now. I think they're a good price here at evens just to win. If anyone wants them on the money line, they might make it into my accas at the weekend on that front. But I'm going to take the goals here. Southampton to score 2 or more at 4-5. And Southampton to score 3 or more at 11-4. And let's go one more rung up the ladder. Southampton to score 4 or more is 8-1. They've had 2 4-0 wins in the last couple of weeks. And they've scored 4 in 4 of their last 8 games. So 8-1 for something that's happened in half of their recent games looks a great option. So a little ladder, we love a ladder. Watford v Southampton, I'm going Southampton team total. Over 1.5, 4-5. Over 2.5, 11-4. And over 3.5 at 8-1.
But the Championship's agents of chaos, Barry. So yeah, more chaotic scenes. There's a game here that there was no way we could have get through this whole show and avoid 4:30 on Sunday, which is Newport County against Manchester United. And unbelievably, Baz, line movement report. I handicapped this yesterday afternoon, or maybe today. Newport County were 25-1 to beat Manchester United on Bet365. Now shown at 20-1. They've been nipped in, Baz, 5 points. However, I've just fired up Sky Bet, and they're at 28-1. So if you want a bit of Newport County, 28-1 is the thing to do. The draws at 12-1, and Manchester United are 1-14, minus 1,400. And obviously, what I'm trying to do here is find ways of fading Man United because they're shite. So Newport on the money line, I'm quite happy with 28-1. But they were Wigan were 8-1 or 7-1, sorry, in the last round. It's a massive difference. They're 4 times. Man United scraped through there. The double chance draw or Newport is 8-1. Got no problem with that. I mean, Man United beat Wigan 2-0 with a shit penalty. Wigan missed some chances as well. Newport have been lively at home. They've scored some goals, Spurs, 1.83 goals per game at home. That I think, and I'm not just being stupid for the sake of it here, I think the prices are wildly inaccurate. On the handicap, Newport plus 1.5 is 27-10, plus 270. And plus Newport with a 2.5 goal head start, Baz, is still odds against. It's 15-13, plus 115. If you want a safety net, there's been loads of first half goals in those Newport games. So over 1.5 first half goals is 3-4, minus 133. If you're a Man United fan, you want to get involved. But that Newport plus 2.5, Barry, I mean, that's up there with Cape Verde for me. Like, do you think Man U were going to hump them or what?
I think Man U could hump them, and that's why I'd stay away from the game. I don't know. I just didn't like anything on it. As you know, New Year's resolution, don't back Man United. So I stayed clear of it.
Fair
3
enough,
New
no
Year's
bother.
resolutions, Malcolm. Don't back Man United. More ladders.
Yeah.
And I was going to lose shitloads of weight. I've lost 10 pounds already. It's all right, mate.
Bloody hell, Barry, well done.
5 kilos for the Americans. So yeah, everything's on progress so far. Ladders are coming out. We've hit some good ladders. I still haven't backed Man United yet this year. And the weight is going down. Sticking to them.
I can't remember what my New Year's resolutions were. We did them on the show with Callum, didn't we? The last round of the FA Cup. But the fact I can't remember what they were would suggest, Barry, I haven't stuck to any of them. Is probably what's going on. My lemon trees, do you know what I've done, Baz? I've stopped watering it. It only starts to shed its leaves when you water it. So I've just stopped, and it looks all right, you know. The fruit's getting a bit bigger and a bit yellower. I'd bring it down, but I don't want to move it. She's upstairs. She's on the bathroom mantelpiece. So when I have my nightly bath, I think the moisture, I'm making it sort of Costa Rican in humidity upstairs. So I think she's recovering a little bit. Fancy stuff, Barry. Did you pick any exotics?
I did pick some exotics. I will kick off with my underdog, which is going to be Luton at 6-1. I know you've put Luton out on the handicap.
There we go. Well done.
I just think Everton have struggled lately. They've stopped scoring. They've scored just 1 goal in the last 4 games. And if they can't score here, then Luton have got a chance at 6-1. And let's not forget, Luton beat Everton at Goodison already this season. They beat them 2-1 earlier in the season. So 6-1 Luton is just a very good price. In a cup competition with an Everton side that have sort of went off the boil a bit lately, I think it's a really good option for an underdog pick. Might not win, but it's 6-1. It's good value. Underdog, Luton to beat Everton at 6-1 for me. No scorer pick for me this week. We just don't know the lineups, and I looked at the games, and nothing jumped out. I like the Leeds game for goals. Pirro possibly would have been one. I would have considered, but he was odds under. He was 10 to 11 or something like that. So I left the scorers alone for this week. But my FA Cup ACCA, here we go, Malcolm. The reason I have to have two ACCAs is because this stretches over 5 days. We've got one leg on every day. One leg every day. So if you're listening to this on Friday, thinking let's get stuck into this podcast for the weekend's picks, you've already missed the Thursday night game, so you'll have to change it. It's an over 2.5 goals accumulator, Malcolm. So we'll kick off on the Thursday with a Bournemouth v Swansea. We'll then go Friday, Spurs Man City. Saturday, Leeds Plymouth. Sunday, West Brom Wolves. And then we'll wrap it up with Blackburn on the Monday night, Blackburn v Wrexham. All of those 5 games over 2.5 goals comes in at 8.5 to 1, 17 to 2 plus 850. If you miss the Thursday night, it's not the end of the world. Just put the other 4 on, and you're still getting a 5 to 1 accumulator for the other 4 games. So over 2.5 goals, Bournemouth Swansea, Spurs Man City, Leeds Plymouth, West Brom Wolves, Blackburn Wrexham, 8 to 1. If you miss the early game, just take the 5 to 1 for the other 4. That's where I have gone this week.
Take the other 4 and put Cape Verde in, Baz. I'm trying to get Cape Verde and all of these things. So my underdog is Newport County, 28 to 1. Fucking bosh, come on. Anytime goal scorer, I'm going to stick with Cookie. I'm going to not go with Kyle Bartley, 25 to 1, first and last. 11 to 1, anytime goal scorer. Big Kyle Bartley, up from the back. Bosh, crashing header. And I've got a little parlay, Barry. It's 5.25 to 1, 5.5 to 1, round about there. It's a few teams we haven't mentioned, and it's some of the underdogs. It's over half a goal team total here. I've got some of the dogs. We haven't mentioned Maidstone United yet, the lowest ranked team left in the competition, managed by George Elacobi, who's loads of fun. They travel to Ipswich, so it's not really an attractive betting proposition. Ipswich around about 1 to 10. Maidstone are a giant price. What price in Maidstone? Let's have a look. I think it's on the telly. This one, 20 to 1 Maidstone. But I think Maidstone can get a goal. Ipswich can play quite wide open. So I'm going to give Maidstone a goal. Another big underdog I'm going to give a goal to is Norwich City. Norwich City travel to Liverpool. That game is on Sunday afternoon. Again, Liverpool around about 10 to 1 on. Norwich are 14 to 1. But I'm going to give Norwich a goal. And I'm going to round that off by giving Newport County a goal. So Maidstone are 4 to 5, Norwich 5 to 6, Newport 5 to 4. So that's 6.26. So yeah, 5.25 to 1, round about 17 to 4 for Maidstone, Norwich, and Newport, all to get at least 1 goal, Baz.
Yeah, so you mentioned that Ipswich game. I'll cover that Saturday morning. Don't forget, we are now doing a live stream on YouTube on a Saturday morning, or I am. Malcolm might or might not be there. Who knows? 11:30 Saturday morning, 11:30 UK time. So we'll have the build up to Ipswich and Newport. Ipswich versus Maidstone. And I'll put out all of my AFL picks and stuff that I like for the weekend, because we've got a little bit of Championship, lots of League One and League Two stuff. So there will definitely be stuff to put out there for the weekend. So get involved in the live if you can. There was plenty of people on last week. It was good fun. So get involved again. Don't forget to follow the YouTube and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up if you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube. We are still 5 reviews short of 100 on Spotify. I mentioned this last week. We had 92. We've now got 95.
Oh,
5 more 5-star reviews, please. Let's get us to 100 reviews on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, it takes you 2 seconds to just press 5 stars. That's it. No words required. Just press the 5 stars. I want 100 by next week. Keep following on YouTube. Follow the new TikTok if you can, so I can get back live on there. I'm a long way off at the moment, but if you are a TikToker, make sure you go have a look and sign up with a new account. The link is in the profile on YouTube, and it's at Toon Baz. Dead easy. So find us there. But that is it from me, Malcolm. I'm going to go put the bins out.
Put Doris's bin out. Just dawned on me, Baz, I put my Ali J's back on because these very well might be lucky glasses. We haven't considered that as an option. So if we start winning everything from here on out, I will leave the lucky glasses on. until that stops happening. Yeah, that was good. Loads of a couple of different voices. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Cookie. Hopefully it's a good weekend, because I was a little bit underwhelmed, Baz, by the FA Cup last time around, although Newcastle weren't comfortable. But yeah, we want a big shock. We want Newport or somebody to get amongst it. I do hope West Brom get a win as well. Thanks everyone in the chats. Callum, who's joined fairly recently, and Slick Rick, who was there at the top of the show. James and Duke and Luke up the Oldham, etc. Thanks everybody. We'll be back possibly on Saturday afternoon. I've got to go to work, Baz, on Sunday in Northampton, of all places, because I've got no bookings. I'm going to have to go and work for somebody else in Northampton. Honestly, that Pride of Britain award can't come quick enough. So we can't record on Sunday. So yeah, we will do it, but we'll discuss this off air. Is what we'll do. Thank you, everybody. Good luck with all your picks, and we will see you down the road. Cheers.